It's me, Malli Malpass, and this is Malcast. Welcome to Malcast. Today I am joined by my good friend and stand-up comic Danny Moore. We're going to be discussing a cult comedy classic today, Withnail and I, a film that was made in 1987, was set in 1969, had a budget of 1.1 million and only made 2 million at the box office. Starring Richard E. Grant and Paul McGann. So Richard E. Grant of something that I can't think of. He was in Hudson Hawk. That's a bit of a deep cut. With Bruce Willis. Can you think of another Richard E. Grant film?
Was he in Star Wars? The Bring Me the Head of Mavis Davis?
He was recently in Star Wars, for all you young pups out there. And Paul McGann, who was a Doctor Who, a movie Doctor Who, I believe. So this is a film that Danny has seen innumerable times, and I watched for the first time last night. So we're going to talk about this weird fucking film. It's
wouldn't be anything different for me.
No, it's
the weirder the better.
It's bleak, isn't it?
It's definitely black comedy, but then it's on brand.
I've got it described as a movie of excesses, codependency, resentment, and upper class pomp.
Let's see what the script's got written on
what
the
the script's it's like, what a weird film.
It's very weird to try and describe it to people. So what's it about? Well, two people go on holiday. Right.
Yeah.
And, well, I can't really give you much more than that because it'll sort of spoil it. And
yeah. Like, there's no fun to be had, is there, in the entire film? It's like,
the ending's not as bleak as it was. After Marwood goes off to become an actor in his cigar commercial.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
He gets a different role in the end.
Originally, Withnail was going to fill a shotgun full of wine and, yeah.
Oh.
So it was going to be really bleak.
Oh my god! It couldn't get any more brief. Let me give you a brief synopsis of it. So basically, it's two out of work actors who are poor, a bit down on their luck, but just completely over consuming alcohol and substances. It starts with Marwood having a complete nervous breakdown in a cafe, surrounded by women eating runny egg sandwiches, and he's having these real moments of paranoia. In the cafe, and he says, 13 million Londoners have to wake up to this every morning. The murder, the Allbrand, the rape, and while he's in the cafe, he's looking at the newspapers, and there's a story in there that would have been quite sensational at the time about a boy that finally found happiness by becoming a woman, and then a naked au pair, and it's all very sort of tabloid sensationalist journalism. It's like the Sun and the Daily Mirror and the Sport and things like that. And then it sort of embarks then on this kind of non-adventure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Between these two friends, between Richard E. Grant's Withnail. Everyone calls the film Withnail and I. They always pronounce it Withnail and I. But for the entire film, nobody refers to it as Withnail. It's always Withnail.
Is that their accent? Because they're quite well.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's probably Withnail. On a cup of tea with them. So yeah, basically they're down on their luck. They're just waiting for the pubs to open, so they can get the next round. Get the next round in. And it's just this sort of bleak journey that you take a ride with them. So what brought you to the film? When did you first see it?
I'm not going to give my age away, but it would have been the first year of secondary school. We used to bunk off every lunchtime, go to my mate's dad's house, and have brandy or whiskey or rum or whatever was in the drinks cabinet and watch the film in just little chunks, smoking cigars and thinking it was brilliant.
So it was your formative years, wasn't it? So that it obviously leaves, when you watch films at that age, it leaves a mark on you and stays with you for life. You have a nostalgia, and it's quite weird. Like, come into a film, I can't believe I've never seen it. I genuinely can't. And come into a film like this late and having to go into it with an open mind and sort of no preconceived ideas about it. I really didn't know anything about the film other than...
I really can't believe that.
Yeah. I knew about Richard E. Grant covering himself in deep heat to stay warm.
Yeah.
Somebody once said to me, "Oh, it's about two guys that are so high they accidentally go on holiday." But it's not that at all. It's not. It's basically these two guys that are so utterly detached from reality, but having to live within it.
They can't function without each other.
No, and it's a codependency.
Well.
They really can, and it's like it is like Bottom. It's Eddie and Richie from Bottom, but literally with none of the fun and none of the violence, you know. And there's some inkling that in Bottom, Richie and Eddie actually like each other from time to time, but there's no sense at all that Marwood or Withnail actually like each other in the film.
Oh, definitely not. It's got to be hate.
There's resentment. To be honest, resentment. There's the whole thing, because every time there's even an inkling of Marwood getting a plot, Withnail's like,
it's sort of puppet master with a string.
Congratulations, you know. So basically, these two absolute lunatics who are high on anything but life. Lighter fluid, yeah.
There actually is a drinking game that goes along with the film.
Is there?
That people honestly play it. I don't know if they do the lighter fluid genuinely. I may have done as a child, just to see what it's like.
Oh my God.
Don't recommend that one. But yeah, they try and go pint for pint, so when they go and get, 4 quadruple whiskies and pints of cider with ice in it,
I would die.
And the actual little cottage where it's set, the farm, they do screen the film, and people go up and see it.
Right, okay. Oh, well, that's cool, though.
Yeah, it's like a little sort of festival, and obviously quite endlessly quotable dialogue.
And it is, though. I mean, the dialogue is the strongest. Apart, the acting's sensational in it. Like Richard E. Grant is hammy as he is,
and
it's
whoever
utterly
plays
sensational.
Uncle Monty, what is his name?
Oh, Richard Griffiths.
That's it.
He's always considered a really serious actor. He's obviously ended up in Harry Potter. I always remember him from one of the.
Do you remember when he was a chef in that TV show? I watched.
No,
it's called Pie in the Sky, I think.
Oh yeah.
Solved murder mysteries with chef. I remember watching it, thinking, "Oh, Uncle Monty's in that." I've been so disappointed halfway through the episode. Going,
he was in a Naked Gun film as well. Yeah, he was wheelchair bound in it, and he ended up being bent over and spanked by Frank Drebin because
I don't remember that.
He had like a birthmark shaped like Mikhail Gorbachev or something. I think I'm getting two things mixed up
again.
Yeah,
there's definitely a birthmark. Yeah.
So in the film, basically, the two main characters decide, or reluctantly decide, to just have a weekend away because Withnail has this rich Uncle Monty. It's implied that his father is rich as well, but Withnail won't ask him for money because there's obviously sort of some fraught relationship there. So they go and see Uncle Monty, so they can stay in his cottage in the deepest, darkest countryside of Penrith. And they're completely, it's fish out of water, absolute fish out of water scenario. But at no point of it are they having any fun, are they, at all? Like, no matter when they're on all the drugs and when they're drunk, there's no laughter, there's no frivolity, there's no levity. It's all really serious, like, all the time. And the only time that like Withnail sort of perks up is when he's being a little bit vindictive, or when he's being all mouth, because he espouses sort of how he's going to kick people's asses, when he sees them out in public, and when he's any confrontation, and he's a complete coward.
The Irish bloke in the pub is a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
I think it was
recorded in the 60s.
The Mother Black Cap. I think it was an IRA pub.
Was it?
It's been knocked down. Yeah, if you have that much spare time like I do and listen to the director's commentary, it was a bit dicey.
You've gone deep into this, haven't you, with the director?
I seem to have, yeah.
Like, really deep into it. So, like, it's a film that I completely urge you to watch. This isn't. I'm trying not to do a review of it. I'm just trying to talk about my experience of it on first ever watch. But it seems like a fairly obvious question. But what advice would you give the main characters? Like,
well, leave the lighter fluid alone.
Don't
recommend that one.
Absolutely. And he favours it like over meths, doesn't he? Because I don't know if anybody like these days knows it, but it was always sort of homeless people drank methylated spirits, didn't they? That was because it was cheaper than alcohol. That was when I was growing up. That's what it was all about. But the Withnail character is so like he's got a very, very high opinion of himself, and he's insanely posh, even though he's living in abject poverty.
It's absolute squalor.
And squalor,
Yeah.
in
Rats
squalor,
in the
because
kitchen.
they're so paranoid as well, though, aren't they? That they believe that something's living in the sink, and they go in to do the washing. He's like, you haven't slept in 60 hours, just leave it, and we'll go do it together tomorrow. And it's a complete trip, and then their mate Danny turns up. And my initial thought on Danny was that Russell Brand has based his entire character on, like, you look at him and it's like
there is a
everything everything that Russell Brand is physically and the way that he's carried himself is Danny from Withnail and I. And but also what I noticed is it the same character from Wayne's World 2?
It's I don't know if it's a homage, but yeah, there's definitely something. Yeah,
because it's all exactly the same, isn't it? It's all like
I think he's even called Danny as well.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I was looking at it and I'm like, is this? Have they done it? Because it's obviously it's a cult icon now.
Because there is no sequel to the film, but there are obviously, we'll let that go. Wayne's World. Then Bring Me the Head of Mavis Davis has got the same director, bit of the same cast. So yeah.
Right. Okay. There was a thing that there was no payoff, which I was quite surprised by, because it's sort of, the writing's very good, very tight, and then Danny and Withnail have this sort of back and forth about how Withnail can take any drug.
Oh, it's when he takes the glasses off and you see the sort of devastation behind his eyes.
But he's like, I can take any drug, I can handle it better than you. And he gets this drug out, he gets this pill out, and it's mono.
Oh, I should know the name of it really.
Yeah. And he's like, this pill is £2. He's like, £2? Are you insane? Because
shut that up.
£2 was a lot. But there's no payoff to that scene. I wanted to see Withnail on that.
And yeah, I always wanted to
on that drug, and there was no, like, I thought, is he going to, when they're away in the country, is he going to take it? Is that going to be part of the, because he's had, he's so frustrated with the weather and the mud, and like, should he have taken that in the local pub when they were, or even when they went into the local cafe, and then pretended to be millionaires, because they're so hammers that they're pretending to be millionaires. So aside from stay off the lighter fluid, obviously the advice that you would give, it's pretty self-explanatory, really, isn't it? It's like, fucking sort yourself out.
Yeah, basically.
Really.
Yeah.
Get a job.
Get a job. I was going to say that. I didn't know if that was a bit too preachy. I don't know if a rehab would have been a thing back then, but trying to abstain somehow from all the pills and drugs.
Undoubtedly, rehab would have been but I don't think there's even even at their lowest, I don't think there's any like regret. There's a little bit from Marwood, isn't there? And there's still, one thing I noticed is when they get to the countryside, and Withnail's just, he's just hating every second of it. But Marwood sort of comes alive a little bit, and he's like swinging his cane.
Yeah,
he's
when you see
down,
him,
and there's light in him, and I think that's the, I think that the whole point of the film is that there's still that hope in that character, that this can't be diminished, and I think that's the point is that Withnail is trying to do that, is to trying to bring him to his level,
jealous of every call to the agent where he gets nothing.
It's what a weird fucking film. So I've been thinking about this. So if there was going to be a sequel, both main actors are still alive. They're in their mid to late 60s now.
I'm not sure if Bruce Robinson's still going, the director. I assume he is.
I wouldn't know. But like, how what do you think a sequel would look like? I had the idea that that it would follow Marwood, who had become quite successful, but he would be haunted by the ghost of.
I think that'd be the only way you could do it. Yeah, the
Withnail. Haunted by, like, Withnail eventually killed himself with drugs and drink, and then, like, whether it's a hangover of psychosis from all the drugs that he took previously, that Marwood took previously, or it's an actual ghost. I think it would be quite entertaining that he would, that Withnail would be there taunting him and sort of trying to drag him back into excess.
See him in mirrors and stuff like that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because initially I thought, because I didn't know anything about the film, right at the beginning when they're in the kitchen and Marwood's having a breakdown, I thought, like, is Withnail real?
There is a bit of that, yeah.
Is it a bit Fight Clubby? Like, is he a figment of his imagination?
Oh, he's definitely real.
Yeah, no, he's definitely There's too much interaction with him and other characters for him not to be real. So has it has it aged well?
I think so, yeah. It's definitely of its time. There is one scene that's perhaps going to be seen as problematic, but used the language of the 60s.
Yeah, exactly, because it was in the 1960s. It's a racial slur. I'm not going to say it now. It pops up a couple of times in the film.
I haven't even noticed it.
Yeah,
once,
twice.
actually.
Yeah, twice. And it's Danny says it first, and then obviously when they get back after the countryside, it's then. And I think that's about the only thing that really drags it down, because it feels like, to me, it felt very current in the sense that the hopelessness of it all.
We're living in bleak times.
Yeah,
yeah.
The hopelessness of it all, and the utter desire to escape the sort of, not only the mundanity, but the
it's reality, isn't it? It's
just, the reality of the world. It's I think it kind of, it says something today. You know what I mean? It says it would be a completely different film. They would have to set it in a time before mobile phones and social media and things like that, if they did sort of a sequel of it, I think. But yeah, I think it stands up. You know, I think it stands up by today's standards. And like I said, there's only that one scene that's problematic. There's nothing else that's well, I mean, saying that is that initially they paint Monty as Uncle Monty as this sort of predatory homosexual, but he turns out to really not be that, and he's probably the only one with any real feeling or emotion in the entire film, you know. And he's manipulated.
Withnail's definitely again pulling the strings from.
And it's really weird though. It's like I don't know, like, sort of motivation for it. I couldn't find any motivation from Withnail to be doing the things that he was doing, to be being that manipulative, other than just for the sake of being able to do it, like a control thing, like a power thing.
Because there was no financial gain out of it at that point, was there?
No.
I mean, there was when we went to buy the wellies and spent time in that.
Yeah, but they just took the money and went and got drunk. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, dialogue in the film, incredible dialogue. Do you think a lot of it was improvised though? Do you think there was a lot of improvisation? Because it feels like,
I don't know, to be honest.
Because like,
there is quite a weird fact that Richard E. Grant is allergic to alcohol.
Is that right?
Yeah, and he got absolutely hammered the night before filming just to see what it was like. And what a hell of an actor he is.
Wow. I didn't know that. But there's a point right at the beginning again, where Marwood, like, he's so detached, and he's just like, my thumbs have gone weird. Which I've known so many instances in my past where people have said like random shit like that. You know what I mean?
Wouldn't be sort of 4 o'clock in the morning in the kitchen by any chance, would it?
Yeah, like a lot of, you know what I mean? Like I once I was once out in town, and a friend of mine, he was on some illicit substances at the time, and he was telling everyone he was a Mazda.
What?
Yeah, and he was sort of sitting in the middle of the road, and I'm a Mazda, and then we pretended to kick his wheels in, and he got really upset by it, and and it just that line, my thumbs have gone weird. Just it reminded me, because it's just the most random shit that people come out with.
We definitely used to quote it all the time when we were younger. There's probably loads of pop culture references of it.
There is. I mean, the like I said, I've never seen it before, but we've gone on holiday by mistake, or we've gone. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And he's so earnest about it, and they have to explain to people that they're not from London.
I was just going to say that,
which I think is a wonderful. You know what I mean? It's sort of because they're out in rural areas, and it's like, but I'm not from London. And they say it a couple of times just to sort of appease people and make them feel.
When they're talking to the farmer's wife.
There's one scene in it where Withnail has an invention to stop to avoid being done for drink driving, which basically he has a bottle that he has to somehow fill with unfiltered child's piss.
Where that comes from is the mystery.
Yeah,
I've definitely used the line, "I've only had a few ales" when I've been. Absolutely hammered.
I've only had a few.
Not while driving, just to clarify.
I've only had a few ales. It's and then like this device basically is you just wear a bottle in, like a very liquid bottle, and you wear it in your trousers, and then you put a tube along the side of your penis. So when you get pulled over for drink driving, you will only accept a urine test, and not a breathalyzer or anything like that in it. So, and when you squirt it from the unfiltered children's piss into the kit or whatever, you're scot-free, and they let you go, apparently. But then later in the film, he does get done. He does get arrested for drink driving, and he does say, "Oh, just had a few L's, officer." But then he's behind a curtain, and the policeman whips it back, and there's this tube hanging. It's the most comical moment of the film, where this tube's just hanging out, and there's just piss going everywhere. So somehow Withnail has found either unfiltered child's piss, or he's got something else piss. Well,
I mean, they're on a farm. It could be bovine.
Could be bovine piss. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of animals around, plenty of dead animals around. This is not.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, this isn't a vegan movie, everyone. It's.
No animals were harmed during the filming.
Lots of animals were harmed during the. Do you know what? I think that it's a weird thing with films where they say no animals were harmed during the film, but if they use already dead animals, that's what, because that's a lot of, especially back then. It was. I know I'm going all vegan now, but it was cheaper to use real animals.
I mean, you'd assume the eel was just like a big bit of rubber.
But that was a real eel. Undoubtedly, that was a real eel.
Do you reckon?
Yes, undoubtedly, because it would have cost less to go out and buy a real eel than it would have to make a rubber eel. And undoubtedly, that's a real eel.
Probably were real rabbits and pheasants.
Oh, undoubtedly, and you know,
pinched from a local farm.
I can't condone that, but I can't condone it at all. Some of the things like I related to a lot of the dialogue in it, because I've got quite colourful expressions and things like that. And at one point, Withnail was like, "I feel like a pig shat in my head," which I think I'm going to use constantly. Like you said, you used to skive off at school to watch this film. And what are your favourite? Have you got favourite films that the other actors have done? Are you familiar with anything else that the actors have done after that? Because you said about Richard Griffiths, who plays Uncle Monty, that you went to watch a film, or what was it? Pie in the Sky, and you were like, "Oh, it's Uncle Monty from."
Oh no, it's not. I don't understand how acting works. I don't really know if I've seen him in a lot. Obviously, that Doctor Who thing. Richard E. Grant must have been in loads more that we can't think about.
Well, Richard E. Grant is in a ton of films. I can only ever think of Hudson Hawk, which is a Bruce Willis action movie that was right at the height of Bruce Willis's fame, and then he was in Star Wars, like you said. He was also recently in a film called Something About Jamie. He played
like Knives Out,
a drag queen. Was he in Knives Out? I don't know. I just know him from a program on Channel 4 where he goes around seeing different hotels.
Yeah.
Which I quite like, because he's not British though, is he? Everyone thinks he's quintessentially British, but I think he's South African.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to sound sad, because he wears 2 watches, one with each time zone.
Is that right?
Yeah. I've really got to get out more.
Sid James was the same.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Everyone thinks it's Sid James from Carry On was like Bristol, but he was South African.
Yeah, he wasn't broad cockney at all.
No.
Well, eventually, but
yeah, he wasn't. No, he wasn't what everyone thought he was. I don't think Windsor Davis was as Welsh as everyone thought he was either. You know,
hamming it up a little bit.
There's all you lovely boys, Branston beans or whatever it was it? Like he used to do. He used to love his beans.
I don't remember that at all.
Anyway, he used to do adverts. He did adverts for beans, I think. Windsor Davis.
Towards the end of his career, then, was it?
Yeah. I mean, it's a very small cast, isn't it? And like, again, it cost 1.1 million.
It seems quite a lot of money considering, 2-3 locations, yeah.
And that's it. See, it's a flat, a pub, and the countryside.
Yeah.
And
a little bit up and down the motorway.
Yeah, the countryside doesn't cost any money. Last time I checked, really. So
well, to live there, it does.
I think they probably pissed most of that budget up against the wall. This is what Richard E. Grant drank the night before. There's the famous scene in it. We've really gone back and forth on this, haven't we? There's a famous scene in it where Withnail covers himself in deep heat, like to stay warm.
Yeah.
And I've always, because there's one thing that I did know about the film, but I've always wondered if that would work. You know, does it heat up? Because if you've ever got deep heat somewhere you're not supposed to have got deep heat.
We've all done that by accident, yeah.
You know what I mean? In your eyes, under your foreskin, in your hoop. I'm not explaining that.
I had a similar incident with, I had a bottle of hand gel in my pocket, in my back pocket, and I sat in the car and that leaked. That
really?
Burns, yeah.
What, you had like hand sanitizer?
Oh yeah.
On your hoop?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't recommend that.
No. I don't try drinking it.
Yeah. Not to kink shame or anything.
Yeah.
But...
Would have better off drinking it. Could you it's difficult to envision like the characters in any other sort of scenario or situation in life, isn't it? Because they're so.
I don't know what there's nothing that really fit in because they're so. round peg in a square hole. They wouldn't even fit into the bottom world, would they? If they
Exactly, they
rubber
wouldn't,
frying
and
pan.
it's very Bottom. I would be really surprised if Bottom wasn't directly inspired by Withnail
It
and
might
I.
be.
Like the codependency element of it. Like Richie and Eddie and Bottom are insanely codependent on each other, and you know they're really scuzzy. And the Richie character, very much like Withnail, thinks that he genuinely thinks that he's upper class. He thinks he's better than everyone else. You know,
Richard Esquire or whatever.
yeah, he
like,
genuinely thinks he's better than everyone else, and that he's more entitled than everyone else. And I think that it's it's probably inspired that, and it's these sort of I've never been a fan of like a movie of excess, like Trainspotting. I've always hated Trainspotting, and I hate it. And I think the reason I hate it is because of my experience, not with my own addiction, but family addiction. Growing up, I think I hate it, and I hate even though that there's bad shit that happens in that film. I kind of always see it as the glorification of drug use, as opposed to
the death of the baby is quite a
that's brutal.
Challenging bit.
I mean it's horrible, and anything with kids in it, I don't like anything when anything happens to kids. But it's that sort of I've always hated that. And then when you get to films like The Hangover and things like that, which are just
I couldn't stand them at all.
I think we like to tell the people like to tell these stories of great excess, like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which is very it's very Withnail and I, in the sense that it's two people that don't really know each other. They have no real feelings towards each other.
Especially when they pull over and they've got a car boot full of drugs and God knows what, and they're in a hotel room, and it's just
it's not it's that sort of movie, and I've never, but with this, there was no glorification of drug use in any way, shape, or form, because it was all so bleak, and it was also clear that that this was just pure escapism on their part, and not out to have a good time. They weren't going to parties. They weren't going to
because of the depression, the actual financial situation, the fact they've got no jobs. Yeah, it's just an escape. Anything they can find, like food, alcohol,
and they're like everything about them is diminished. Everything is that there's no desire other than the acting is the desire, isn't it? That's the whole thing. That's the whole goal. But there's never any flirting or any interaction with women or any. I mean, you would think with that sort of excess, it going back to Bottom again. Like Richie's primary goal in life is to get a shag. That's above everything else.
Don't think that ever happens, does it?
No, I don't think he ever gets a shag. No.
He's close in one episode, but
he's really close. Yeah, but he never does it. And then he thinks he's the Virgin
Mary.
He thinks he's the Virgin Mary. At the end, he's like, that's why I've never had a shag. Which I think is fantastic. I don't know about yourself, but I'm from a time of excesses. You don't have to talk about any of this if you don't want to. But it's sort of watching this made me remember the lows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sometimes I will watch I watch portrayals of drug use, and I think, you know what? I could do. Do you know what I mean? I could do with a bump. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think we've all been. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Or to feel the, you know what I mean? Or to feel Mandy for the first, oh Mandy, and you came and you gave without taking. Well, but what this film did was just reminded me of all the bad. It's like they're on a come down constantly.
That is actually what it's like.
Do you know what I mean? They're not chasing a high. They're just trying to stave off.
Everything's quite dark the way it's shot. It's no real brightness. The tone is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is like a come down. Well, they were going to go out and get wrecked, come back, take a couple of pills, and come up 2 days later, weren't they? So it must be a constant hangover, come down, whatever they're on.
Yeah, there's never a ray of sunshine. There's never anything that makes you think, I want to be in this world.
I'm quite surprised, though, considering how down and out they were, that there's no heroin use or opium or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably just for lack of money.
It could have been.
Do you know what I mean? Because like Danny's coming over and he's bringing drugs and he's got his
3 foot long split.
What's it? The
Camberwell carrot.
Camberwell carrot. And I love it. I love the explanation of it. And like you can't build a joint with 12 seats.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Camberwell carrot. He's like, well, because I invented it in
Camberwell,
Camberwell,
yeah.
and it looks like a carrot. Like, what a fantastic
Better explanation can you give?
Yeah, what better explanation can you give? You know, and then you've just got like at the end when it just descends, like it really ebbs. It really comes to this like crescendo of chaos at the end, just as Marwood has he's got a role. You know what I mean? The lights have come on. He's come back into the building, but there's eviction notices because the rent's not being paid. And then Withnail is so high that he's just laughing, you know. And then Danny's talking about like legal stuff, where he's reading all the legal papers, and then I can't remember the name of the guy, the black guy with the afro. And he's just like chanting. He's just doing
Withering Ed, around that globe,
yeah. He's just like Mongolian throat singing, and it just descends into utter chaos, and that's the sort of that's the last push before Marwood gets to escape. You know, that's if like metaphorically, like if the entire movie is someone in labour, that's the point. You know what I mean? That's the last push, isn't it? That pushes Marwood out into the real world, and it's sort of it seems to be on the up for him after
but
that.
Incredibly depressing, especially when they're at the zoo in the rain. The very final scene, it is.
Yeah, it's a horrible, you know, and he's and he doesn't want Withnail there. You know, he's like don't walk to the station, don't, because he's done, isn't he? At that point, he's absolutely done with that life.
Just wants that to be over, to go on to fame and fortune. Hopefully.
And what I mean, it's weird, isn't it? What put him there? Like, obviously, you know, were they students? Were they? Because I went to see
well, the original Withnail, the inspiration, Viv Carroll, was a mate of the directors.
Oh, really?
He's based on a real person, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I suppose they could have gone to uni together, or yeah.
It's because I keep going back to Rick Mail. The whole film just makes me think about it. It makes me think of Rick Mail. The whole it's basically like every character that Rick Mail has written has been kind of like a pastiche
sort of delusions, a grandeur kind of
job,
isn't it? Yeah.
Like it's so Withnail. It's so like where he's posh. He's clearly from money. He clearly thinks he's better than everyone else. And I recently went to Bristol to watch a presentation with about Rick Mail, the chaotic energy of Rick Mail, at the Bristol Old Vic, and it was Nigel Planer was there.
Oh wow!
I was Neil from the Young Ones, and it was just about this is really good because we got there and it was supposed to be this guy who's a Bottom or Rick Mail super fan and Nigel Planer, and then there were 3 seats on the stage, and we were like, why are there 3 seats on the stage? And they were like, and Ben Elton. And it was like fantastic. So Ben Elton just was there to talk about his mate Rick Mail.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. Apart from
he wrote the Young Ones.
Oh,
Yeah, basically they were involved like in so many projects. But Blackadder being
where he's Lord Flashheart.
Yeah, but when I'm watching Withnail and I'm put in mind of the things that they were talking about Rick Mail there, about how he was somebody at university, you know, and it could have gone very much the other way from it. Like he was very, I'm Rick Mail, you know, women love me, I'm gonna get a shag. You know what I mean? And you can imagine that that's where Withnail and Marwood sort of made that connection, you know, when there was light in their eyes and the world was their oyster.
Towards the end, the light's definitely dying.
In it, yeah, and it's such a the word bleak just comes. It's like it's immediately unsettling. I find it immediately unsettling. Like it's sort of the worst elements of. If I picture the times in my life where I felt the worst,
on a massive come down, hangover, everything else.
But and it's just like it's not just the sort of mental health that comes with with drug use or with alcohol use. There's something there that's aside from that. You know what I mean? Like Withnail is a narcissist. He's a textbook narcissist. who just loves. He's like a master manipulator, and it's basically. You know, and he hasn't even got lofty goals as a manipulator.
No,
it's basically where's the next drink coming from.
Yeah.
The entire reason that Withnail tells Uncle Monty that Marwood is a homosexual, so he will drive down to the cottage, and they can drink all his fine wine and his sherry, and again with the class thing, you know, where like Uncle Monty gets there and they don't have enough sherry glasses, so he has to drink sherry from a champagne flute, and he's like, "Oh, I'm really hoping that it doesn't offend your." You know what I mean? Your taste buds, because
your palate.
It doesn't offend your palate because you're drinking sherry from a. Do you know what I mean? And that's, you know, I'm from an upbringing where you drank out of what you could get your hands on.
Oh no, that was proper silver service, wouldn't it? All the forks, all the knives.
Yeah, for sherry, you take ages to drink it with 3 different forks. But so overall then, what you need to explain your scores a little bit. So. In this, so on a 1 to 10, how would you rate the acting?
It's got to be up there, 8.5, 9. I would think
it's really good.
I don't want to say 10. I think it's a bit. Oh, you just love the film, but considering that Richard E. Grant can't really get drunk, it is really up there.
It's sensational, isn't it? It's like Wolf of Wall Street. Have you seen Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
Like Leonardo DiCaprio does not take drugs, right?
Yeah, but considering the context of the film, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like he doesn't know what it's like. He doesn't have that feeling. Like if somebody turned around to me now and said, "Act like you're on Molly," or act, you know what I mean? Or act like you're on some kind of marching powder. There's a neural pathway in my brain for some reason that is gonna allegedly for some reason there's a neural pathway there. That will give me that information, so I'm going to know how to act. And we've all been tiddly. We all know how to go. Shh. I've had a few. Do you know what I mean?
I miss that, trying to come in as quietly as possible, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Do you know what? Right? My mother, she would always, when I used to come in the house once, right? Sometimes I would be absolutely off my gourd, right? No questions asked. You know what I mean? Like walking past anyone in the street, they would be like, "That person is absolutely fucked," right? So, but on days when I used to just come in, I'd be chilling down a mate's house. My mum would go, "What's the matter with your eyes?" And I'd be like, "Nothing.
Why?"
She'd be like, "You've been smoking drugs." And I was like, "No, I haven't. No, I've just been down my mate's house, like, you know." But other times when I would walk in, right, and I couldn't even spell my own name at that point.
Can remember where you are, what you're doing,
yeah. She would be like, "You're right.
Good evening.
Good evening." And I'd be like, "No." You know what I mean? Like unbelievable. You know? Even the night that I got into bed with her. I got into bed with her completely naked, and my mum completely unabashed because I'm the youngest of 6 kids. Was like, "Come on, back in your room." And she ushered me back into my room. And then I woke up in a dry bath.
Nothing you hadn't seen before, I suppose.
No, nothing you hadn't seen before, not with my brothers anyway. But again, you know, it goes back to that, like to the acting. Like my point being that I have a point of reference in certain things. You know what I mean?
It's how hysterical Richard E. Grant gets when he's like laughing in manically. It's just
like where do you can obviously watch people. You can
I suppose you can observe it and then try and
replicate it, but still to get into that. But I suppose it's acting, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like I'm not a fucking actor. I don't know. I ain't got a clue about acting.
It's not kind of the Daniel Day-Lewis method effect, is it? Or method acting, is it?
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis would have gone in like snorted fucking 12 bottles of Ajax. Do you know what I mean? Before he
lived in a rundown, but
yeah, that's what he would have done though. You know, that's what he would have done. He would have been an out of work actor.
But I think everyone in the film, from the barman, the ex-military barman who gets pissed up, it's everyone, even the hunter bloke.
Yeah, it's really immersive, isn't it? It's like it's utterly convincing. Like you're completely like, as far as you're concerned, that guy in the bar is a poacher. That's what he does. He's that intimidating, and it's really encompassing. It's wonderful. So yeah, I'd say probably at 8.5. Or, so and same thing again. So it kind of speaks for itself. You're holding the script, but dialogue. 1 to 10 for dialogue.
I'm gonna have to say 10. I mean, I'm biased as hell, but there's pretty much nothing that just can't be quoted. From pig shitting in your head.
Yeah. So like, some notable things was Danny saying when he's talking to Withnail about how he can out drug him effectively.
Yeah.
And he's saying you'd think a brain tumor was a birthday present. Do you know what I mean? Like,
That's a bloody good impression as well.
Yeah, so
actually.
you think and then like this isn't dialogue. So one thing that I really loved is Uncle Monty's vegetable.
I was just going to say that, yeah, certain
Like,
like,
what a
about a
wonderful
firm young carrot.
Yeah, what a wonderful. Like, I mean, he believes that a cauliflower is more beautiful than a rose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I cannot cook a piece of lamb without singing garlic or rosemary salt. It's just, yeah, it's all in there somewhere.
There was another bit in it as well. Again, this is not dialogue, but when they're driving in the rain, they've only got one windscreen wiper.
Yeah.
On there, and then Marwood has to get out and he tries to take it off to put it on the other side of the windscreen. But my brother was in a van once, and their windscreen wipers just stopped working. So, and it was absolutely belting it down. So what they did was they used to fit windows, and you know the rubber that goes in around windows. They got a length for that in the back of the corner, and they tied it, and they made a pulley system in the windows. Yeah, so they were just pulling the windscreen wipers like that as they were driving along. And it reminded me of that though when he only had. There's the classic line as well. We've gone on holiday by mistake, which is absolutely stunning. A piece of dialogue, and it's so pathetic. It's so.
And Uncle Monty's on about his cat as well. Oh, that oaf has ruined my day.
Oh, he hates that cat, doesn't he? He absolutely hates that cat. What are we going to say for dialogue? What are we going to score it? How many miles are we going to score the dialogue?
I want to say 10. I don't know if that is too high.
I don't think it is, to be honest, because I think it is masterful. I think it's one of those things where you have to, like no one would ever speak in real life like they speak in Tarantino movies.
Oh, well, no.
But people love the dialogue, and like I think it's the case in this film as well. But it's a bit more relatable.
Yeah,
there's certain things that I would absolutely say. Like I feel like a pig shat in my head is something that I would.
I'm glad you've taken something from this film.
No, I know I have taken something from it. I have, and it's
You're bound to notice it now when you're out and about. You'll see someone say something, you think, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because culturally it's massive, isn't it? For a film that effectively bombed, a film that only made 900,000. Yeah, well, no, because it was 1.1 million. It took 2 million at the box office.
Bloody hell, that's not a lot.
So that's not a lot of money, is it? Even in 1987, it's not a lot of money. So it effectively bombed. Like the studio would not be funding a sequel.
Well, I suppose
on that return
could be why it never happened. Actually.
Probably why it never happened.
But since then, it's grown and it's a massive cult thing.
And it's sort of generational as well, isn't it? It keeps, it just keeps going generation on generation. Like I've discovered it now, and I will encourage. I don't know if it's like it. I wouldn't say it was. It's not going to go into my top 10 of films, but do I think I'm a bit more enriched for watching it?
Oh, definitely.
I think so. I think because culturally, I think it's, and I think it, like I said earlier, really, I think it holds a mirror up to today.
I was trying to think of the line without trying to go through here, where they're on about politics. Something like shoveled up by Tories and shat on by Labour.
Yeah.
It is, it's just like, well, the more things change, the more they stay the same, I suppose.
Well, Marwood did vote Conservative, though. He did say that in the.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed with it, but I don't think he would have voted for anything else. Do you know what I mean? Like Withnail would vote Conservative. He would blindly to the polling station because his father and his grandfather were in the House of Lords. And then obviously a favourite of yours, soundtrack. We're gonna 1 to 10 on the soundtrack. Explain your answer.
Say 8. Really, there's some really good songs in there. The incidental music is, I think, really good. Yeah, definitely the Hendrix and then the King Curtis songs are the better ones.
They stick out, don't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're so impactful on their own, those songs. That
it's just when he's driving away in the Jag and flips his glasses down, and then I think it's all along the Watchtower starts. It's just like,
What's he doing? Making time, isn't he? The making time, just aimlessly swerving, like all the manoeuvres that he does on the motorway. There's absolutely no need to do them in any way, shape, or form. He's just swerving. So he doesn't have a driving license at this point. He's driving
pissed.
Driving pissed,
if not anything
else. Is this a sort of moment of Isn't it a moment of kindness though, really? Because isn't he getting Marwood back for a reason? Did I misread that? That he had to get back to London for an audition or something like that?
Audition, yeah.
Like they like there was this sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Altruism. There was this moment of altruism where it was like, I have to get you back to London for this, even though that when Withnail finds out that that he's got the role, he's clearly crushed by that. and I think he's crushed by it because he knows it's come to the end of this little.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This run its course.
This little.
Maybe it's not all bleak then. Yeah, there is a little
twist. Yeah, so there is sort of hope for him. But then that all goes
but then
up in smoke.
It could be that he's thinking, if he's going to be a famous actor, let's go and sponge off him.
See, and that would be really in keeping though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
With you know what I mean? Riding on his coattails.
Exactly. Yeah.
So overall, what would you give it on a 1 to 10?
Oh, definitely an 8.
Yeah?
Yeah, if not higher. I know there is that connection from when I used to skive off school, but it's just been with me for a long time, to be honest.
Does it still feel the same? Like when you watch it now?
I try not to watch as much anymore. I think I was going to a point maybe, not once a week, that's a bit excessive, but at least once a month watching it. Now it'll be every 12, 18 months.
Look, because there are things when you're a kid that you watch that are like culturally massive and feel so important. Like Red Dwarf.
I was just going to say that's
like Red Dwarf. Thursday night, you know, we would all be in our respective homes waiting for Red Dwarf to come on, and then we would quote it infinitely the next day.
Again as well.
Yeah, and but like in retrospect now, if I try to watch Red Dwarf now, I can't watch it. It just doesn't do anything for me.
Oh, I still can. I haven't
can you?
managed to,
yeah. I mean, there's still like if I watch episodes like Polymorph, you know, which is one of the greatest episodes of all time.
Or Gunmen of the Apocalypse, I think perhaps, yeah.
But there's just something like it just doesn't hit me anymore. Like it, and it's because obviously your taste change and all that. And there's certain films that I can watch time and time again from when I was a kid. You know.
I think I kind of use it a bit like Frasier as a sort of comfort series.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I can still watch the. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can still watch the first episodes where the sets is shit and it's all monotone. But yeah, the later ones, like the past couple of years, are not the best.
Fantastic. It was a good experience watching it. I really enjoyed it. I did. And
sorry about the bleakness, you know.
No, but it's just like I didn't know what to expect, and I'm trying to engage in things more. I'm trying to be more mindful of the things. So watching something and making notes on it.
That must have been a bit difficult, yeah.
But it was all right. It was good though. You know what I mean? And it was good. Yeah. And I did have to do it a couple of times, just to make sure that I got something, like, you know. But yeah. So overall, what did we end up with? An 8?
Yeah, I think so.
It was I mean, a really decent film. I do suggest that you watch it. And that's it. That's it today. Thanks, Danny. Thanks for coming in. This has been Malcast. If you've liked it, please consider liking and subscribing. It will do massive things to help me grow this channel. And this was the first episode of Malcast. I'll catch you all soon.